Harsant, councillor for Hollywell's ward in Ipswich. And I want to know what got you into politics, Liz.
Well, I think I was in politics from the cradle, really, because my parents were not activists, but very politically minded, and I sort of was there all my young life. And when I was about 15, I suppose, I actually joined my local party and started my political career, delivering leaflets, actually, and then progressing to canvassing, and I've been involved ever since. I've been chairman of the local association here in Ipswich, Conservative Association, 3 times. Twice I've lost MPs or haven't won, and then when Ben Gummer came along, I did warn him that he might not be lucky with me, and we won. So I'm quite proud of that achievement.
So what have been the challenges you've had to face over the years, and how has this impacted on your role as a councillor?
Well, from a political point of view, becoming leader of the council after 2 years of being a councillor was very demanding and challenging. I felt very ignorant about the processes that went on in the council, and although you get this amazing backup from officers, you're very much on your own. We didn't have a majority, so we had to form a joint administration, which we did with the Lib Dems, and that, you know, dealing with a party with different political views is never easy. So that was a challenge on its own. And during the period I was leader, which was 6.5 years, we also went through the unitary debate. And that was a massive challenge. And I was sort of getting up at 5 o'clock every morning prior to meetings, so that I made sure I'd read the papers and that I understood them, because I chaired all the meetings. I felt very much alone sometimes, and I have to say that James Hare, who was the chief executive then, was marvellous, and it was a great disappointment that we never achieved unitary status for Ipswich.
So those are the challenges that you faced from a political standpoint. What about personally?
Yes, I often look back and think, oh my goodness, I wonder if the children ever saw their mother. But I suppose they were grown up, and I think I missed a little bit of my grandchildren because I was always at council meetings. So there was that, but I had to work around it, really. I had 2 parents, elderly, and my father died far too young, and I had to take on the responsibility of looking after my mother at weekends when I was a councillor. That was difficult. Also ran my own business, which wasn't successful in the end. So I had all those added challenges piling in on top. And then, of course, when I lost Russell, which is 7 years ago now, that in itself was a huge blow to me, and a complete change of the way I live now.
So what would you say that has brought to you? Has that enabled you to be a better councillor going through such tough times?
Yeah, I think because you learn, don't you, about how tough life can be. I lost my sister when she was only 35. That was a devastating time of my life, and you have to get something, you have to gain something out of those dreadful incidents to actually be able to help other people. And I often think that people cross the road to avoid you when you've lost somebody, because they don't know how to deal with it. And I think I was in that place as well. And then when Penny died and other people lost somebody dear to them, I felt I could go up to them, put my arm around them and help them. So I always say, if nothing else, I learned how to do that.
So, juggling a very busy personal life and a very busy life as a councillor, what's it like? What's a typical day like for Councillor Harsant?
Well, I do get up very early in the morning. I'm usually at my computer by 5:45, which is rather sad, isn't it? And I like to think that I do 2 solid hours answering emails, get lots of emails from residents. I also email my residents with details of things I think they'll find interesting, like what planning applications have been registered, that kind of stuff. I'm not political with residents. I try to avoid that, but I try to keep them up to date. I'm involved with quite a lot of charitable work, so I sometimes have to get more involved in any particular one when we've had a meeting, just cover the points that we've raised. And then in a normal week, I would say I'm out 4 days, 4 nights at meetings and during the day. So there's preparation as well to do, reading papers, so you can at least know what you're talking about. Friday night's normally free, but we sometimes have association events, which, you know, might sound fun, but they're rather a commitment. And the same over the weekend. We often canvass on a Saturday. So I would say I'm busy most of the time doing things for the Conservative Party and the council.
So you're actually now in voting mode, aren't you? And
Yes.
campaign time.
Yes.
So that must add some extra pressure.
It does. It's a different sort of pressure because we don't get the number of meetings once we go into what they call PERDA. So for myself, the only meetings that I have to attend during this 5-week period is planning and development. And again, there's a little bit of work to do. We have site visit this coming Monday, for instance, meeting on Wednesday. The papers have got to be read. I'm going to speak on behalf of a resident, so I'm going to go and visit him on Saturday to go through what he would like me to say. And then I'm out most of the time campaigning, which is completely different to my normal life, and it's nice because I meet all the people that either elected me or didn't, but I can talk to them.
So what do you want to achieve then in the next 4 years?
In the next 4 years, well, first of all, I've got to get re-elected, and I'm not going to be complacent about that at all. You know, I'm the only Conservative in the whole of the southeast of Ipswich, and I've seen Holywell's ward go from a complete Tory ward down to the enormity of the task. I'd like to think that if I was re-elected, I could help carry on helping residents. There's lots of little things that they want, benches and chairs and bins on the waterfront, double yellow lines in Cliff Lane, but I suppose more important are the issues surrounding antisocial behaviour and the knife culture, gang culture that we have, not just here in Ipswich but all around the country. The sad death of Tavis Spencer Akins last year, and the conviction of the people that murdered him. And what's sad to me is they're all young, and it seems so awful. An end of a young lad's life, and really the end of those young people that have gone into prison for such a long time. So there's a lot of work there to be done. I'm quite passionate about homelessness, and over the years I've worked with Maureen Raynell, who runs Find. We set up a night cafe back in the early 2000s to help homelessness, and I've worked with the Chapman Centre, well, before it became the Chapman Centre, when it was the Umbrella Trust, with Roger Fern and Halford Hewitt, and I'd like to continue to do that kind of work. If I'm not elected, I have got Plan B, which is slightly more selfish, which isn't actually like me, but I thought I might join some things that I've talked about for the last 17 years and never got round to doing.
So Liz, thank you very, very much.
It's a pleasure, Emma.